Hey guys, I've been thinking a lot about doing this video and whether or not I should. And yesterday was a really hard day. So we found out that a friend, colleague, business owner, lives in my community, passed away suddenly. And I found that out yesterday morning, and it really rattled my world. Rattled my world on many levels. She is somebody that I helped get her business off the ground when she was first starting. We were in a coaching program together like 6 years ago, and she was learning and I was learning, and then she knew that I knew what this other coach promoted, and so we built her website and got that up and going. And then her very faithful best friend and admin came to me and said, I want to work for you. And I was like, I don't have a position for you. And she waited, and then I was ready to hire her. And so now Kelly has worked for me too for the last couple years. And so it affected Kelly massively. And it just, of course, the ripple effects affected me and Stacy's testimonials on my website. And I remember meeting her and Kelly at Panera and coaching them and consulting them and giving them techie tips and just the best tools that I could give them. And they ran with all of it. Every book that I recommended, they devoured. Every tool that I said, use this, they did. And I've just watched Stacy and absolutely loved what she does, the lives that she touches. I've recommended dozens of people to her. She gets foster and adoptive parents. She just understands them. And I refuse to say it in past tense because her work is still living on. Her videos, her book, her blogs, whatever's out there, I encourage you to still look it up and find her page and everything. I don't know what's going to happen. And I guess that's the next thing is when she's building a business and I'm building a business, my first thought is what's going to happen to her work? What's going to happen to her inner circle? What's going to happen to her coaching members? What's going to happen to her Facebook page? And it's devastating, the loss of a mother and a wife and a grandmother, period. They are going to be reeling for years. But as a fellow business owner, it really made me examine my own business and to say, what would happen if something happened to me? And I guess that's my challenge for you today. If you have a business and something happened to you, whether you need your gallbladder out in emergency surgery like I did a couple years ago, or you have a loss of a grandparent or a parent and you need to suddenly be gone and attend to that, or if your child has an emergency and needs your full attention, what happens to your business? These are the thoughts that were rolling around in my head yesterday, and I'm sure Kelly is supporting them and helping them, and I don't even know what's happening on the inside of her business, but it definitely got me thinking about mine. And I thought we all need to realize how short life is, right? How it's a vapor. Life is very, very short, and it definitely made me, I dropped everything yesterday. I didn't work at all. I rescheduled phone calls that I had, and I just wanted to be near my kids. I wanted to just hug them a little tighter and be with them, because you never know. In a heartbeat, everything can change, and it's good. It's good for us to be shocked into the possibility that anything can change in an instant. And, you know, when nothing is changing and we're just going along our life, I think priorities sort themselves out, right? Like whatever's the most stressful, it gets to the top of your list. And that can be, I don't know, I need groceries, right? And then it can be more serious. I need to hire a new staff member. But then when a loved one dies or gets sick or gets cancer, everything shifts, right? And yesterday, everything kind of came to a halt in my mind because I just was stunned. I couldn't believe that as far as I know, a perfectly healthy woman, I don't know how old she was, 50s or 60s or something, just suddenly dies. Like, it doesn't even make sense to my brain. And I don't want to make this about me. I want to make this about you and what we all can do to be thinking through our lives and to cherish our families and our marriages and everything more, because life is so incredibly short. But I guess on a business level, right away my team sprung into action and we needed to cover everything that Kelly normally does. And Chris stepped up and helped me, and Sierra stepped in and helped me, and Rachel is stepping up. And the whole team was there to support and encourage Kelly in our communications and just say, we've got this, like, don't worry about it. And that also got me thinking, like, what would I do without a team? Because if everything's on your shoulders and you're 100% responsible for everything, then honestly, it's quite impractical. Because then if everything's on your shoulders, then everything falls apart if you go down or you need to shift your attention elsewhere. And I think when my kids were little, I did a lot of writing out all the house stuff that I did so that if I was ever gone or anything, people could pick that up. But like, that's basically an operations manual, right? And then at my music school, same thing. I needed to be able to step out so that other people could step in, so that that I'm not the linchpin. But I think in Never Alone in Business and my coaching and consulting I do, what if I am the linchpin? What if I'm back to, I do have a team around me, but it made me examine everything again, right? And to say, what happens when tragedy strikes? What happens? What do you do? What do you fall back on? Who is around you to step in and support you? And maybe those are questions that you can reflect on today too. And you can say, if you suddenly go in the hospital, if you suddenly need to shift your focus to a family member, who keeps the trains running? Who knows what you do on a daily basis? Do you have checklists written up for yourself? Do you have systems in place? I think in the crazy of life, and we're putting out fires and we're helping people and we're just responding to what's ever in front of us, and we're just responding to those emails or those requests. You're just doing the next thing in front of you. And it can seem overwhelming and daunting. Like, how on earth would I create an operations manual? How would I create checklists and systems? But I think the bigger question is, how can you not? Because, and this is nothing against or speaking to Stacy's business. I have no idea what's going on over there. And I know Kelly's stepping in and helping. But I'm just saying, for me, the reflection was, what happens if I can't do what I do on a daily basis? And who knows what I do? And who's aware and who can step in? And it might take 5 people to replace you because they've got stuff too, right? And I will tell you that one of my friends, she lives in California, we have a plan in place that if anything were to happen to one of us, we both have music schools, and she's agreed to fly in and become the director while my family's dealing with other stuff, if anything were to tragically happen to me. And I agreed to do the same thing. If anything ever happened to her and her husband, I would fly in, I would handle the business. It's like we are what is it? Like in your will, you set up things for your kids, like, Chris, what's that word? Not godparents, but like if you don't know either. I don't know if there's a word for it, but you would make a plan for your kids, right? Well, my business is my kid, really. And so if something were to happen, or maybe if Chris was really, really sick or something, God forbid, and I needed all my attention on him, even though I have a team, who would they look to? And so to have somebody else who really understands my business and that can step in and be that surrogate mother or that foster mom for that time for my business is really important. But for Never Alone Business Services and Never Alone Coaching, I don't know. It got me really, really thinking to what is riding on my shoulders and what do I need to put into place so that it's a healthier business. And maybe that's something you need to think about too. Both at home and in your business. I think, maybe you don't want to watch this video because a lot of times when other tragedies strike, I'm like, I can't deal with it, right? Like, we only have so much bandwidth for tragedy. And so I'm not trying to bring you down today, but it's just a very real possibility. And if you're running a business and it's all on you, then you need to be thinking about what happens. What happens if you can't be in the driver's seat of your business? Who can help you? Who knows what you know? Even things as simple as your passwords. Who knows all that stuff? It's really making me reflect. Yesterday was really, I went through all kinds of emotions, but I think just knowing a good chunk of what Stacy's business entails, it just made me wonder what on earth is happening and what, are they okay and who can help? And then of course that made me reflect on mine, right? Like, what would happen if something happened to me? What would happen if I needed to suddenly rush to help one of my kids or my spouse. So I think it's just a sobering reminder for all of us that life can change so quickly. It can change in an instant, and we just have no idea. We have no idea how short our days are here on earth, and life is fragile and fleeting. And I certainly try to live every day thankful for what I have, for my children, for my family, but it takes, serious tragedy, I think, to make everything halt and to make me re-examine everything. And so I hope if you're watching this today that you just take a moment to really just stop and think about, are you racing too much? Do you need to stop and really process and think about the steps, the systems, the people you have in place, and really, could anyone do what I do? And does anyone know what I'm doing? And what would happen? So, Kelly, if you're listening, we love you and we are supporting you and we want to be here for you. And I know that you are supporting the family, and Stacy's whole legacy will live on. Like you told me yesterday, it will live on in every single person that she's touched and loved and encouraged, and her book will live on. And I hope her videos and encouragement, anything else that Stacy's created, Stacy got it. She got it more than anyone. And I know I've had countless messages of people that I referred Stacy to, and they said she changed my life. And I believe it. I know it because even I have such a heart for adoptive families and kids and foster moms. Like my heart just beats out of my chest for them. And that goes way back. I had a very close friend in third grade. I think her name was Jenny also, and she was a foster kid. And I would walk her and this whole clan of kids home from school on the way home from my school. And they were just this ragtag group, and they were all in this foster house. And I got to know the foster mom, and I always wonder what happened to that girl. I think she went to live with her grandma in Iowa, and I lost touch. And I always think about her. And that's where God first put the seed in my heart for foster kids, and seeing what she had gone through. And I have so many friends that do foster care. And then I have 4 adopted cousins. So it's in my family, and I believe in adoption. I love adoption. And my best friend adopted from Russia, a 3-year-old. Well, that comes with a lot of dynamics and trauma if you are in an institution till you're 3. And so Stacy is the one who taught me everything. I listened to her words, and that's how I can love and care for these other moms who are going through all of this on a daily basis. I don't know it firsthand, but I feel like I have such a better understanding because of what Stacy taught and lived and walked out all the time. I'll never forget meeting Stacy. I think it was one of the first times I really stopped and talked to her. She had a booth at a homeschool convention, and she was selling some things, and I bought the sensory thing for my best friend who had an adopted daughter, and that's where kind of the journey started, and started following her. And then, like I said, we were in a coaching group together, and then I worked with her and did some consulting with her. And I've always recommended people go check out her stuff. And I was on her, I can't remember, I think it was on her Facebook page a little bit this morning, and just the things that people have said and how her book has completely changed, because a lot of foster and adoptive parents know that there's something different. They know there's trauma. They know that the brain is different. They know these kids need something different, but you can read book after book telling you it's different. But Stacy told people then what to do and how to create that safety net and how to parent your kids the way that you need to, not based on what the world says, because parenting is not one size fits all. I mean, I have 4 kids, bio kids, and they're different. I can't even imagine if they're foster kids or adopted kids. You got a whole other ball of wax there. And so you can't treat them the same. You have to do what's best for your kids, and Stacy taught us that. So her legacy will for sure live on. And I just pray that we can do that in a tangible way for her. And I don't know, whatever we need to do to keep those words going and keep her videos out there. So many people told me, I just watched her Facebook Live yesterday. And that's how quickly things can change. So very sobering. And we're definitely praying for her family, her kids, her grandkids, and her husband, and keeping them in our thoughts and prayers constantly. So there's just a little reflection, I guess. I just felt I went around and around if I should do this video, but I hope it blesses someone. So you guys have a wonderful day. Talk to you next time. Bye.